Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Delana Jones, and this is your Heart Flow moment. Yes, this is your Heart Flow moment. I just wanted to come on to you guys about a lady by the name of Abigail. The Bible calls her a woman of beauty, and he also calls her a woman of good understanding. And she did something that really sparked me, and as a woman, it really gave me something to honestly aspire to. There is one thing to have beauty, and there's another thing to have good understanding. I don't know if you all are familiar with the mythical story of Helen of Troy. And Helen was known for her beauty. And Helen is someone who two men fought over, basically, according to the myth. They fought over her because of her beauty. It doesn't talk about anything else that she offered, but only her beauty. And one of the main lines in that story that they talk about that really stuck with me is they said that she had the face that launched 1,000 ships. A face that launched 1,000 ships. That means she was so beautiful that a man came all the way across the ocean just to fight for her to be able to get her back. And I thought about that. I said, it's one thing to be able to have, to be so beautiful that somebody wants to fight over you or fight for you. But beauty is fleeting. Beauty does not last. But one thing that I liked about Abigail is that she not only had beauty, but she had good understanding. I want to talk to you guys about 5 steps that I saw Abigail make in this 25th chapter. Okay, so the backstory is that David was in the wilderness and he encountered Nabal's herdsmen with all of his herds, all of his livestock. He had like sheep and goats and stuff. And so David and his men took care of them. They made sure that they didn't lose anything. They made sure nobody attacked them. They no bandits came and stole all their goods or anything. They protected them, and so when it came time for a feast and David and them were in the wilderness and they didn't have anything, they said, you know what, let me send 10 men over to Nabal's and let him give us some things because, we took care of him. So surely he's going to take care of us. Well, Nabal did the exact opposite. He did not take care of David. He sent them back to him empty handed. As a matter of fact, he tried to act like he didn't even know who David was, which is stupid because he knows that David is of the house of Judah. He's of the tribe of Judah. David is of the tribe of Judah, and so is Nabal. Nabal is of the house of Caleb, and Caleb is a part of the tribe of Judah. David is of the house of Jesse, and that's a part of the tribe of Judah. They were probably kin. They probably was like second cousins twice removed or something, they were more than likely they were kin to each other. So he sends him packing, and of course, David, being who David was, he was like, nah, we're not finna do this. I take care of your people, and when I'm in need, you're not gonna come to my aid. Okay, I got something for you. Everybody suit up, mount up. We're going. So they get ready. They sworded up. They ready to go. They come out and they ready to fight because David's like, I will not let nobody, no man in a household is going to survive come daylight. I'm about to wipe everything out. So, Abigail is in the kitchen and she hears, from one of the herdsmen that David and them had just left, that David's men had just left, and told her everything about how they took care of them and how now they're sending these people back empty-handed. Now, David is a man of war. David has a reputation. So Abigail, knowing who David is like, oh my God, Nabal had messed up. He was really living up to his name because Nabal's name means fool. So she's like, he's living up to his name. Let me step in the gap and do my best to fix the situation. So she tells him, she's like, hey, let's get some cakes. Let's get some pies. Let's get some meats. Let's get some wine skins. Let's get something and some wine into some wine skins. Let's get everything we need to be able to feed them for the feast. Let's get some nuts, some berries, you know, and let's get some things to feed them for the feast. And so she prepared everything, and she sent her people ahead of her with the food and the gifts and stuff. And so she gets on the donkey. She was like, you know what? I'm not even going to talk to Nabal and tell him anything, because he's probably going to try to stop me. And if he try to stop me, he's going to end up messing up everything for all of us. Because if I know David like I know him, he's getting ready to come down here, and it's not going to be pretty. So she goes, gets on the donkey and goes down there, and she meets David. There are 5 things that I really want to focus on that she did. You know, because sometimes you may be single, you may be engaged, or you may be married, and you have to speak to the men in your life, whether it is a man that you're dating, whether it is a man that you're engaged to, and he's getting ready to be your husband, and you're speaking to your future husband, or you're speaking to your husband that you have currently. No matter how long you've been married, I believe that these things will be able to help you, or even just give you a refresher on how you are interacting with the men in our lives, or those men that we humble ourselves and submit ourselves to. I believe that sometimes we have to make sure that when we are going to approach the men in our lives, we approach your husbands, that we have to know how to approach. He may have had a hard day at work. Let's approach him with a glass of water, with a glass of water, Kool-Aid, soda, whatever it is that he drinks. You know, he's had a long day, but you know you want to talk to him about something, and you're doing your best to prevent a war, because you know he's getting ready to be upset about whatever he's getting ready to hear. So she sent him a gift. She sent him cake, pies, wine, everything that he needed, because she's doing her best to calm this lion. You know, my pastor has this saying where he says that as a woman, we have to know how to ask for the lamb. You know, because a lot of times the men are always in hunting mode. They're always in a mode where they're doing business, or they're trying to make something happen. And so they're like walking in their lion mode of things. And we have to learn how to, as a woman, that we're like, hey, you know what? I don't need the lion. I need the softer side of you. I need that person. So he says that we have to ask for the lamb at times. And so I believe that we have to have a voice that will awaken the lamb and put the lion to sleep. Yeah, awaken the lamb and put the lion to sleep. We have to be able to have a voice that will calm his anger, a voice that lets him know, hey, you're getting ready to make a bad investment, or a voice that even speaks into his future kingship, into his future place of authority that he's gonna walk into, to let him know, hey, we don't have to avenge ourselves. You don't have to take the wrong road or you don't have to stoop to the level of other people, because this is who you are. This is who you're getting ready to become. And I think that Abigail really gave a major example for that by doing 5 things. The first thing she did was she sent gifts. And when she sent gifts, she sent him cake, pie, she sent him everything that she know he would need for a feast. You know, and then she didn't just send it, but she prepared it. You know, it says that she dressed the meats. She dressed it. That means she put potatoes, she did all the kind of stuff, she seasoned it up. She got everything ready for them. And I think sometimes we have to make sure that we bring a gift, whether that is a foot rub, whether that is a drink that he likes. If you know he like red Kool-Aid that's extra sweet, bring him some red Kool-Aid that's extra sweet. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes we have to learn how to awaken the lamb, you know. And so as you awake that lamb, sometimes you got to be nice to the lamb. You have to pet the lamb up just a little bit. You know, you have to call to it. So you bring gifts, you recognize his authority, and you say, hey, babe, I know that you have been working all day. I know that you got a lot on your plate right now. I know that you are a very busy man. But I really want to talk to you about something. I really need your ear. And that's the thing. The next thing she did was she humbled herself and she asked him for his ear. So many times we walk in the door and we're like, hey, I want to talk to you. And we just start rattling off and not thinking about the fact that, is he really ready to talk right now? Is he really ready to even discuss anything in particular right now? And so she asked him for his ear. And then she took responsibility and stood in the gap for someone else's faults. And by her doing that, I believe just that alone spoke volumes for who she is. It spoke volumes for the fact that she had a good understanding, not only of who David was, but she had a good understanding of men in general, of a man in general, or of a husband, even a person that's angry in general, and knowing how to speak in a way that would calm them down. Yes. She reminded him of where he's getting ready to go, and that he's getting ready to go into a kingship, and that going and destroy him would not even make a difference. It's not going to make a difference. Like, what would it profit you? You're getting ready to go into you're getting ready to be the ruler over all of this, a ruler over the whole entire nation of Israelites. You are getting ready to be the man. This is fleeting. This is something that's not even going to last. It's not even going to matter 5 years from now. It's not even going to matter once you go into your kingship. So don't avenge it with your hands. Let God be your avenger. The vengeance is mine, said the Lord, and I will repay. He got it. Let God do what God does, Let God do what God does. And you be the king that you are. You be the man of authority that you are. I've already given you what you need. I've already given you the gifts that you need in order for you to have your feast. Please go in peace. And lay all of the blame on me and forgive, and let forgiveness be in your heart. Let forgiveness be in your heart. And so David heeded her voice. Went back to her household. It was the time and he went on. So Nabal was drunk and kicking it with his friends or with other men of the household. And she waited a little bit, and then she told him, I think like the next day or something like that. And she told him what happened and told him what she did, of course, because she is a woman of good understanding. She's not going to just do something and not inform her husband at some point. And so she told him, and the Bible says that he was like a statue after that. Some theologians say that he had a stroke. Some theologians said that he just became catatonic because he was in so much shock and distress. But anyway, 10 days later, he died. And so when David hears that Abigail is now a widow, he says, go and get her for me. Go and get her, because let's not forget that they're of the same household. They're of the same tribe. So I can redeem her if I choose to. And so David chooses to redeem her, and he brought her into his house as a widow. He brought her into his house because he remembered how smart he was. She remembered how wise of a woman she was in the advice that she gave him, and how she was able to calm him at a time when he was ready to go to war. I believe that in this story, we can learn a whole lot as women. As a woman, and even as a wife, you can learn a whole lot, because Abigail didn't even know that she was speaking to her future husband. She had no clue. She had no clue who David was eventually going to be to her. All she knew is who he was at the time. So as we speak to men in our lives, as we speak to those that are future husbands, as we speak to those that we are engaged to, or even those that you are married to, just remember that there are certain things that we can do as women to awaken the lamb and put the lion to sleep. I pray that you got something out of here and you were blessed by it. Always remember, bring a gift, humble yourself, recognize his authority, and ask him for his ear. Take responsibility for somebody else. Stand in the gap of whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that you are asking him to do for whomever it's for. Stand in the gap and make a good argument for that person. And also speak into your husband's future. Those are things that we can do. And it does not necessarily have to be something that you want. It just may be something that you need to do on a regular basis. You know, you need to bring him something. Bring him something to drink. Rub his feet. Let him know, hey, baby, you know what? I love you. The Bible says that Sarah called Abraham Lord. Oh, and in this story, Abigail only spoke to David. She never called him King David. She never called him David the warrior. She called him my Lord. She consistently recognized his authority and the authority that he had over her. So yeah, bring him a gift, humble yourself, recognize his authority, and ask him for his ear. Take responsibility for somebody else and stand in the gap, and speak into his future on a regular basis. You know, I am learning a lot in this time of my life. And I believe that God is not allowing me to learn this in vain. I do believe that things are about to shift quickly in my life, very quickly. And you just never know what's going to happen. But I want to make sure that as things shift in my life, that I am prepared for the shift and I am ready for the shift. So I hope that something was said that will help you throughout your week, that will help you throughout your month, and throughout your life in general. I always remember that here at Heart Flow, foundational scripture is Proverbs 4:23, where it says that above all else, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows or springs the issue. And this has been your Heart Flow moment. I'll see you next time.